Dissatisfaction often hides in plain sight. It appears not as a crisis, but as a constant background hum. Life should be more than this. The body should look different. The relationship should feel deeper. The work should be more meaningful. From the outside, everything can look fine, yet inside there is a quiet ache. Not enough, not yet, not really. Social media, advertising, and a certain kind of self-help culture pour salt into this open space, repeating the same message in 1,000 forms. This is still behind. This could be better. Others have found the secret. Why not this? Over time, the nervous system begins to treat dissatisfaction as normal climate, like a gray sky that never clears. At a spiritual and psychological level, permanent dissatisfaction is not just unpleasant, it distorts perception. The mind starts to edit reality in a very particular way. Small joys are dismissed as irrelevant. Ordinary moments of safety or connection are treated as invisible. Only what is missing seems to count. This is not because there is no good in the life. It is because the inner lens has been trained to look past it. Dissatisfaction then feels like truth. If nothing satisfies, it must be because nothing here is truly worth much, including this. In this state, more information about how to improve can actually make things worse, because every tip becomes another way to measure failure. There is, however, an antidote that looks almost too simple to be real. It is not a new productivity technique, not a dramatic life change, not a secret formula. It is a spiritual emotional posture that humans have practiced for thousands of years under different names: gratitude. The word is often used in shallow ways, printed on mugs and hashtags, turned into aesthetic rather than practice. Beneath all that, gratitude as a lived habit is one of the most powerful correctives to chronic dissatisfaction that the nervous system knows. Not because it denies pain or pretends everything is perfect, but because it teaches the mind to see again what has been edited out. Gratitude can be understood in many layers. It can be a brief feeling when something kind happens. It can be a character trait, a general tendency to notice and value what is present. It can be a spiritual virtue, a way of relating to existence itself. In any form, gratitude does something very specific. It redirects attention from what is missing to what is here, without claiming that what is missing does not matter. This redirection seems small, but it changes the chemistry of the brain, the tone of inner dialogue, and the kind of actions that feel natural. Over time, it creates a different inner world. Biologically, the roots of gratitude lie in something very practical: reciprocity. Long before humans sat in circles talking about abundance mindsets, nervous systems were learning that those who shared, helped, and remembered favors were safer in groups. Early humans who felt a warm pull to repay kindness were more likely to survive than those who ignored everyone. Gratitude started as this pull, a motivated warmth that says, "This help mattered. This connection matters. This bond is worth sustaining." At first, it mostly served the exchange of food, protection, information. Over time, as minds and cultures grew more complex, that same circuitry became capable of something wider: appreciation for beauty, for life itself, for the simple fact of still being here. When gratitude is active, specific areas in the brain light up, regions that process reward, social bonding, and the interpretation of others' intentions. In simpler words, gratitude teaches the system: this life contains good. There are allies. Not everything is hostile. At the same time, it acts like an antidote to some of dissatisfaction's closest friends: envy, constant comparison, entitlement, cynicism, and the belief that only more will finally be enough. Gratitude and these states can visit the mind in the same week, but they cannot fully occupy the same breath. To genuinely appreciate something, even briefly, is to step out of the trance that says, "Nothing here has value." This does not mean that grateful people never suffer, never feel lonely, never face injustice. It does mean that, on average, people who regularly practice gratitude tend to report more stable happiness, stronger relationships, better sleep, less burnout, and more resilience when hardship comes. That resilience is not mystical armor. It is practical. A brain that has practiced noticing small good is less likely to collapse completely when large difficulty appears. There is a muscle already trained to look for what remains, even when much has been lost. One of the subtle traps of dissatisfaction is the way it erases past joy. The mind has a habit called hedonic adaptation. Something long desired is finally attained, and for a brief time there is a high. Then, very quickly, it becomes normal, background, expected. The promotion that once felt impossible becomes the new baseline. The relationship that was a miracle becomes how it should be. The body that has healed from illness is taken for granted. The mind, still chasing that initial rush, declares, "This is not it. More is needed." Gratitude interrupts this adaptation. It pauses and says, "Wait, remember when this was just a dream or a fear?" It brings back context, and with context, a deeper satisfaction becomes possible. This is particularly clear after crisis. People who have passed through serious illness, sudden loss, or intense psychological valleys often report a strange phenomenon when stability returns. Ordinary moments become almost luminous. Tasting food, walking outside, not being in a hospital bed, hearing a friend's voice. Things once invisible feel like gifts. Objectively, life may even be harder than before, with new limitations or scars. Subjectively, the comparison point is so different that gratitude floods the system. Nothing external has become magical. The inner lens has been cleaned. The question is, why wait for catastrophe to practice this way of seeing? Gratitude also has a very practical effect on relationships. In dissatisfaction mode, the mind treats people in the life like furniture in a room. Present, useful, but mentally faded. It focuses instead on imagined ideal people. The more successful partner, the more aesthetically pleasing friend group, the more stimulating community somewhere else. Real, imperfect, available humans become sources of annoyance or disappointment. In gratitude mode, the mind turns back toward what actually exists. It notices the friend who always checks in, the neighbor who smiles, the colleague who explains something patiently, the partner who brings a glass of water without being asked. These small shifts in attention change behavior. Invitations are accepted instead of dismissed. Appreciation is expressed instead of silently expected. Over time, bonds deepen not through dramatic gestures, but through 1,000 tiny acknowledgments. The natural question then arises, if gratitude is so powerful, can it be strengthened on purpose? The answer appears to be yes, but with nuance. Each person starts with a different baseline capacity to feel gratitude, shaped by genetics, temperament, culture, and history. Some nervous systems are more naturally oriented toward noticing blessings. Others, especially those shaped by trauma or scarcity, are tuned to scan for danger. This is not moral failure, it is adaptation. Asking a hypervigilant system to just be grateful without context is cruel. Yet, even in these systems, gratitude can be cultivated carefully, like a small fire protected from wind. One of the simplest and most researched practices is gratitude journaling. It sounds almost too small to matter. Sitting down once or a few times a week and writing a short list of specific things that awaken a sense of appreciation. Done with presence, this is not a performance. It is training attention. The key is specificity and sincerity. Family, as an abstract concept, may not move much. The way a younger sibling laughed at a terrible joke today might. Health, as a vague idea, might feel flat. The fact that walking up the stairs did not leave the body gasping this morning might open something real. The practice does not need to be long. 5 to 10 items, once or twice a week, over some weeks, already begin to send a message to the brain. These details matter. Look again. At first, it may feel mechanical or awkward. That is normal. A mind used to rehearsing what is wrong will resist shifting its focus. Over time, however, something changes. During the day, a small part of awareness starts to collect moments for the next entry. Sunlight on the kitchen counter, an honest message from a friend, a problem that resolved more easily than expected. These are not huge miracles. They are signs of an inner orientation changing. It is important to add that gratitude is not a cure-all. It does not replace therapy for depression or medication where needed. It does not erase systemic injustice, toxic environments, or deep grief. Trying to use gratitude as a weapon against someone's real pain, be grateful, others have it worse, is a distortion of its purpose. Healthy gratitude sits alongside honest anger, sadness, and fear. It does not silence them, it balances them. It says, yes, this is hard. Yes, this hurts. And alongside that, there are still anchors that hold this life. This both-and posture is far more powerful than a forced smile. One practical way to keep gratitude from becoming pressure is to treat it as an experiment, not a test. There is no rule that says every day must contain a profound, moving list. Some days, the only honest entry might be grateful that this day ended. That is still truth. On other days, more space may open. Appreciation for the way a stranger held a door, for a song that arrived at the right time, for a body that, despite complaints, still carries. The point is not to impress anyone. The point is to gently retrain a mind stuck on not enough to see that already here also has weight. At a deeper spiritual layer, gratitude is a way of saying yes to existence itself. Not yes to every event, as if all were pleasant or fair, but yes to the fact of being alive, breathing, conscious, able to love and be loved, able to learn. Many contemplative traditions see gratitude as a doorway to a different perception of reality. When appreciation becomes frequent, separation feels thinner and connection, for a moment, feels more obvious than isolation. In such moments, dissatisfaction loses its authority. There is simply this: breath, heartbeat, light, sound, presence. For a nervous system used to constant demand, these moments are medicine. The antidote to dissatisfaction, then, is not to eliminate every lack or achieve every imagined standard. The nervous system will always be able to invent new metrics. The antidote is to change the relationship with what is present. Gratitude does this quietly, insistently. It invites the mind, again and again, to ask different questions. What here is already a gift? What would be missed if it vanished tomorrow? What has stayed when other things broke? These questions are not meant to induce guilt. They are meant to reveal richness that chronic dissatisfaction has hidden. Over time, a feedback loop can form. A little gratitude leads to slightly kinder actions. Slightly kinder actions lead to more authentic connection. More connection leads to more experiences worth appreciating. The inner atmosphere shifts a few degrees. Life from the outside may look the same. From the inside, it begins to taste different. If this reflection on dissatisfaction and gratitude touched something, that response is already part of the remedy. Awareness cannot be unseen. From here, one simple experiment can begin. Once this video ends, before the next distraction appears, letting the mind name 3 very specific things that, if lost, would be deeply missed, and then, for a brief moment, feeling what it is like that they are still here. For more explorations on emotional healing, nervous system literacy, spiritual psychology, and practical inner shifts, subscribing keeps this field close. Liking this video helps this message reach others living under the weight of chronic not enough. Sharing it with someone quietly tired of their own dissatisfaction might give them a new language. And if one small thing comes to mind right now that is quietly, undeniably good in this life, writing it in the comments can be the first thread of a new story being woven on purpose.